Hello, good evening. Or morning. Monday morning, I suppose, now, isn't it? I'm going to read a little bit more Alice. Hold on. Don't plug up. Hold on. Oh, hello. Can't read now, got to have glasses off. A yellow and black striped bumblebee was busy collecting pollen from a sweet-scented black rosebush. Buzz, 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 I'm Benny the bee. Life is as fun for a bee like me. A buzz and a bumble, a ziddly-zee. Buzz for my breakfast and a buzz for my tea. Collecting pollens from the flower, yes, I love making honey. Buzz the bee. Alice stood up, straightened her grey skirt and held deeply. The roses certainly smell wonderful tonight. Hold on, need a pen. Pen. Yeah. Just about amazing state. Well, certainly. Smell wonderful tonight. Some of orange fireflies danced around the tiny teenage girl, illuminating the soft green grass under Alice's feet. Thank you, that is very kind. At least with your help I can see where I am going, she smiled. The pretty teenager gazed at her reflection in a puddle of rainwater. The soft blue silver light of the moon danced with bright crystal diamond stars in the ripples of the water. A small, long-haired pixie fellow with pointy ears tapped Alice on the shoulder. Excuse me, miss. You still there? Excuse me, miss. Hello, replied the teenage girl. Isn't it a beautiful evening? It certainly is. The pixie was wearing a brown and green silk suit woven by silkworms. My name is Timothy, by the way. Would you like a slice of magic mushroom? He asked. Tiny Timmy handed a gleaming slice of golden mushroom to the even smaller little girl. It doesn't look as pretty as the toadstools in Wonderland, commented Alice. They are usually blue or green or red with white spots. Eat it, suggested the pixie. The teenage schoolgirl swallowed the gold-topped mushroom, and within 5 minutes she was rolling around in the soft green grass, clutching her stomach and giggling like a lunatic. I don't think they're going to publish this summer. I went on a day trip into the land of dreams. I climbed over rainbows and danced with moonbeams. I floated for a while on a pink candy floss cloud, then flew with the seagulls whose song is so loud. I walked with a dragon through kaleidoscope caves and galloped with seahorses over the waves. I sat on the back of a giant butterfly. We flew over flowers that reached to the sky. Then I swam with the dolphins who live in the sea. They told me that the best was still yet to be. And I sat with the mermaids singing beautiful songs. They told me in the future that I would belong. I danced with Lucy, an angelic friend who said life was eternal and would never end. I smoked some hashish with the man on the moon. He played the sitar and he sang some sweet tune. Then I paid a visit and walked with the sun. He told me that mankind would soon live as one. I said some mushrooms with an old leprechaun. We talked until sunset and slept until dawn. I woke to see the sunrise in an orange sky, and I realised the truth that dreams can never die. Verse 2. Alice in Down Underland. Alice in Down Under. Indeed, it was now morning, and Alice was sound asleep on the soft green lawn of the royal palace, snoring heavily. Good day, Sheila, said Bruce, the king's head gardener. He could see the schoolgirl quite clearly, for overnight Alice had grown back to her normal size. My name is not Alice. Sorry, my name is not Sheila. It is Alice, said Alice. She opened her eyes, but all she could see when she stood up was the blurry, fuzzy face of a wrinkled old, grey-haired Aboriginal man. I do have a very good friend called Sheila, she added. I know, laughed Bruce. She's sitting on your right shoulder. And sure enough, Sheila the black widow spider had also grown back to her normal size, and was indeed now standing on Alice's head. She is a very fast climber. Sheila kissed Alice on the cheek and leapt onto Bruce's right hand. My name is Bruce. How did you two meet? Asked Alice. Am I still there? So I need to get bifocals on TV. We met a couple of years ago, explained Bruce. I was lost in a cave when I found a spider trying to weave a web in the corner of a cavern. The spider kept falling off the web, but each time he did so, he climbed back up the wall to the web and continued spinning his silky thread. Then Sheila crawled onto the web and ate the little spider right in front of my eyes. Turns out that he was her latest husband. Hubby number 7, actually. Sheila, the black widow spider, was now sitting on Bruce's right shoulder. I told Bruce that my husband was a lousy lover and absolutely useless in bed. He asked me why I killed him, so I told him, if at first you don't succeed, try and try again. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. A grey furry koala bear rang his handbell. He was walking towards Bruce and Alice. Oh yay, shouted the town crier, dressed in a royal red, heavy cotton overcoat and wearing a black dry cone hat. Alice couldn't see him very well, of course, because she was very short-sighted without her spectacles. And now far too big to be a fairy princess. And even though she had grown taller, her eyesight was still very short. The town crier unwrapped a paper scroll and began reading in rather a soft tone of voice for a bear. The trial would begin in half an hour, he announced, just as loudly as he possibly could. He was rather a small bear and actually looked kind of cuddly. Would all witnesses please report to the courthouse post-haste? I suppose post-haste is when a postman has to run very fast to post all his letters, thought Alice to herself. Bruce took off his wide-brimmed beige hat and wiped the sweat from his brow with a red handkerchief. Duty calls, he sighed. I'm a witness. Oh, bother, frowned Alice. I would love to watch the trial, but how can I tell if the defendant looks guilty if I cannot see his face? I am as blind as a bat without my spectacles. The gardener took hold of the schoolgirl's left hand. Come with me, he suggested. I am taking you to meet the royal optician. Brutus and Alice walked across the neatly trimmed garden lawn in the direction of the Golden Palace. Excuse me, but whose kingdom are we in? Asked Alice. She sounded very nervous, as she had once met the Queen of Hearts in Wonderland, and she wanted to cut off the poor girl's head, as Alice recalled. It was a very unpleasant experience indeed. Bruce laughed. My dear girl, the King of Clubs rules down underland, of course. Professor Oswald Owl is an optometrist, which is a bit of a tongue twister when you talk about it, especially when you are talking too fast. How much can you read? Asked the wise old owl. No good. Can't see if I can think. A pair of large, black, thick-lensed, round plastic spectacles perched on the orangey, pointy beak of the tawny, feathered-winged, bespectacled professor. Try saying that when you are stoned. It just looks like a few black smudges on a white wall to me, after Alice. The optician hands a pair of red spectacles to Alice. Try these, he suggested. Now, try reading the top line. Alice bit her bottom lip. I still can't read it. But the print is massive, protested Professor Oswald. I could read it from the other side of the palace, if I had X-ray vision, and could see through walls, of course. I can see the letters perfectly clearly now, but I can't read the eye chart, explained Alice. The letters are upside down. They look the right way up to me, replied the professor. Maybe you are the wrong way around. Can't you turn the eye chart upside down? So can't turn the eye chart upside down? Asked the young lady in the school uniform. 2 minutes later, Alice stood on her head, with her back against the wall. Try again, he suggested. Alice began reading the letters aloud. I, A, M, A. Alice paused. That is all I can read, I'm afraid. The optician gave Alice a much stronger pair of green spectacles to wear. Now read the next line. S, B, L, I, N. The schoolgirl squinted her eyes tightly. D, A, S, A, B, A, T. I'm afraid that I still can't read the bottom line. Oswald hands Alice a pair of blue spectacles. Any better? Asked the professor. Alice reads the final line of the chart. ICANSEECLEARLYNOW. Word perfect, hoots the optometrist. Professor Oswald howled. You had better keep the spectacles, no charge, he assured the girl. Thank you very much, that is very kind of you. Alice gave the owl a big hug. I must run now. Bruce will be getting impatient, and we have to be in court in 5 minutes for the trial. Alice and Bruce, with Sheila the black widow spider on his right shoulder, ran across the palace patio towards the courtroom. Excuse me, Bruce, asked Alice, but why are there corks hanging from the brim of your hat? To swat flies that get too close, explained the Australian gardener. I have some very good friends who are flies, replied the schoolgirl. Where did you get all the corks? Bruce laughed. The Queen of Clubs is an alcoholic. A bottle of the finest champagne for breakfast. A bottle of white wine for brunch. A bottle of pink rosé for lunch. And a bottle of burgundy red for bingo. By mid-afternoon she is legless. And when she is not pissed out of her skull, the Queen can usually be found down in the palace wine cellar. She has quite a few varieties to choose from, and by the time that she has finished tasting them all, ready for next day, she is often found passed out on the stairs. Chapter 2, The Kangaroo Court. Silence in court, shouted the dingo, dressed in a white wig and black silk gown. All rise for the Right Honourable Lord Chief Justice Joseph Bounce, he ordered. The jury and the audience in the public gallery stood up, including Alice and Bruce. the King of Clubs, the March Hare, the Queen of Hearts, the Jack of Spades, and a pink flamingo called Geoffrey. Although I do not quite understand what a flamingo would be doing on a jury in a court of law. A kangaroo, wearing a red silk gown and a long curled white wig, bounced across the courtroom and sat down in the judge's large, high, important-looking wooden oak chair. Bring on the accused, commanded Justice Bounce. A wallaby stood in a cage at the front of the courtroom. Guilty, shouted the judge, banging his gravel on his desk. The gravel is a small wooden hammer, if you don't already know. Off with his head, shouted the Queen of Hearts. Alice stood up. Order, order, silence in court, shouted the prosecuting counsel, the Right Honourable Dingo Patterson. The teenage schoolgirl stamped her feet. I really must protest, Your Honour. She turned to face the judge. How can you judge the defendant guilty if you have not yet listened to any of the witnesses' evidences? Bruce, the dark-skinned Aboriginal gardener, tapped Alice on the shoulder and whispered into her right ear. In the land down under... hold on. Pen. Oh. In the land down under, everything is upside down. Oh, fuck. So in the land down under, everything is upside down. The end is the beginning. There's a crime before the facts. And before you commit suicide, they will hang you from the trap. Judge Bounce stood up. Prosecuting counsel. What crime has this poor unfortunate fellow been accused of? The Right Honourable Dingo Patterson stood up, and the judge sat back down. Walter Wally the Wallaby is hereby accused of impersonating a kangaroo. The accused lowered his head. It's true, Your Honour, he admitted. And Walter Wally the Wallaby and I really want to be is a bush kangaroo. You are far too small to be a kangaroo, argued Dingo Patterson, the prosecuting solicitor. Kangaroos are much bigger than you. Is that all? Asked Alice. That it might... I was expecting that it might be something much more serious, like kangaroos can box but wallabies only wrestle. Or kangaroos can jump, but wallabies only wobble. Well, he's something. Just a little bit more important than he's too small to be a kangaroo. That is just plain silly. The judge banged his gravel on the desk. Has the jury reached a unanimous verdict yet? He asked. What is an unanimous? Asked Alice. I can see a few rats in the public gallery, but I can't see any rodents on the jury. Do you all agree? Asked Lord Chief Justice Bounce. We do, Your Honour, replied Bruce the Royal Gardener. Alice whispered into her friend's ear. What are you doing on the jury? I thought that you were supposed to be a witness. I witnessed the trial, didn't I? Bruce explained. Innocent, screamed Alice at the top of her voice. Off with his head, shouted the Queen of Hearts. Hang him by the neck, suggested the March Hare. Free Wally, free Wally, free Wally, shouted a group of protesters who were standing under a window on the pavement outside the courthouse. I haven't quite decided yet, apologised the King of Clubs. The kangaroo judge jumps up and down on his desk, and the sentence is, if you want to be a kangaroo, then you will have to stretch yourself. This is silly, sighed Alice. Bruce chuckled. Oh, well, it is a kangaroo court after all. Not the greatest bit, but...